It was very alarming and disturbing to know that the mayor and the chief would actually go to their police officers to break the law when they are there to enforce the law. Y'all see him? I see him. This man right here got to go. We so glad we had the time together, but Chief Johnson has to go. Who controls the funds? City manager also controls the funding. Who is at fault in this whole process? Every last one of them.
And the city solicitor's advice, I move that the third allegation regarding the mayor and the chief of police allegedly knowing or seeking to engage FOP leadership in unethical behavior.
With this chief. So you have certain city council members that have actually formed a friendship with this chief. And when I tell you, I'm recording now, sis. I'm recording. We gotta go through it. We gonna put them all on blast. So we are out here at City Hall, and we just want to go through. The FOP is out, and they are making their statement known. They are going through. The chief has got to go. We've been saying that the chief got to go for a minute. So what we gonna do? Listen, they are playing no games. They say he got to get gone from here. Say hi, happy people. Come on, say hi. Look, we got the FOP out here in the building. I'm gonna need y'all come on down to City Hall, cause this man got to go. Y'all see him? I see him. This man right here got to go. We so glad we had the time together, but Chief Johnson has to go. Come on out, y'all. Come on out. Yeah, we'll see y'all inside.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, man. I'm here with Shell Paul.
Hi guys, Shell Paul with Divided We Fall, Delaware.
Delaware, Dover, Delaware, actually.
Yes.
Hey, look, she been on my channel before doing the election season of Dover City Council election. But we here today, right? Before we get started, right? Can you introduce yourself to the folks?
I'm Shell Paul. I'm with Divided We Fall. I'm a community advocate. Just in the city, trying to make the city a better place. When people have issues, they come to our organization. If they don't feel like they're able to get those issues resolved on their own, we try to help them to get them resolved at the lowest level possible.
All right. So you got me out here today at the this City of Dover.
City of Dover Police Department.
Police
Yes.
Department. What's going on?
Well, as you all know, the City of Dover has had a lot of issues with regards to crime rate and just things in general within the community. But the reason why we're at City of Dover Police Department is I think a lot of our issues that we're dealing with, it comes from, community has to be able to pair and work with police department. Well, right now you see a lot of things going on with regards to a lot of complaints. And with all things that we deal with, you have good police officers, you have bad police officers. But when you are dealing with police department, this police department has a police chief that is not, he's not the best thing for the city. Since Chief Johnson has been with the City of Dover, the morale of the officers has gone down, the crime rate has gone up, and he's been very dishonest with regards to even the reporting of the crime rates. He's not here, even when he is here. And I think a lot of that, attitude reflects leadership. When we're dealing with certain things within a community, community has to be able to pair and work with the police department for whether it be crime, whatever the issues. Community needs to feel safe by the police department that's actually policing them. And with that being said, this police chief, there's no confidence in the chief. When you have 93% of your officers are giving you a vote of no confidence, And that's because the officers don't respect him. And they don't respect him because he is actually not upholding the law that he was actually hired to enforce. So, there's a lot of things that are going on within the city that constituents really need to know about. You know, um, on an average, the police chief gets paid about a little over $450 a day. And with him being paid that $450 a day, every day that he's not here but getting paid, that is basically stealing from taxpayers. Um, the police chief he started working for um, Penn State University in 2021 from what's been alleged. And April of 2021, he took on the responsibility of being this city's chief in February of 2020. And with that being said, he knew what he signed up for when he signed up for it. Um, and he's not only stealing time from constituents, but he's literally stealing time. It's alleged that the police chief has taken off way more than his vacation time. Um, that's allotted for the city, but he's been paid for those days, even though he didn't work them. And that's not something that city council nor the mayor can excuse. Um, and right now, city council is not being good stewards of taxpayer dollars.
How long the police been a police chief in the city?
Um, Chief Johnson Jr. has been a police in this city since February of 2020.
2020. So almost 5 years.
Almost, yes, coming up to 5 years.
Do you have there any background? Do you know his background previous job, like where he used to work?
Um,
What city?
he came from Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. Um, I'm really not sure why the city of Dover hired this chief in the first place, just based on if you Google um, Chief Johnson Jr., Thomas Johnson Jr., you'll see that he had there was a lawsuit that was filed against him prior to him coming here, and the lawsuit in itself, the particulars of the lawsuit. Normally, when you see lawsuits like that, what generally happens is this: they file the suit, it ends up getting settled out of court, so you never see what the end result is or why. But because it did not say that the suit was denied, or there was no ruling, common sense will tell you that the Upper Darby Police Department, more than likely, more probable than not, paid out a settlement to that petitioner that filed that lawsuit against them. Now, the particulars in that lawsuit, of course, whether they're founded or not founded, it leaves great questioning as to why they would even consider hiring him for the city of Dover in the first place. Because A, he was not from here. So because he's not from here, generally when you hire police officers, if they're not from your area, they don't have any real skin in the game. They don't care about how the community is taken care of. They don't care about our children, our elderly. Um, they generally just come here to get a check. And in Chief Johnson's case, that's what he's doing. He's being, let's be realistic. He was getting $165,884 a year. And that was just, if I'm not mistaken, a year ago. So with the increase, of course, he gets up to a 9% increase. It's a 9% increase that's supposed to be split between the chief major as well as the chief, but we do know that he's receiving an increase in that salary. And he actually, with all the things that we have going on here, he actually had a nerve to go through and put it on the floor to get his raise. Now, one of the things that's really bothersome for constituents right now is this city is we're in a deficit. And, they're struggling to get the things that is needed to even, for the city to even function. You have the stormwater drain issues. You have the issues with the electric, with servicing issues, and the power bills for residents are going up. You have an increase of all these expenditures for residents, and then you have um, inappropriate spending and theft. I'm just going to say what it is, it's theft.
Yeah,
The,
I did a interview with Diane Hall, and before I did my interview, I did a little research. Like the overall crime in the city is too high, man.
right,
108%
right.
higher than. What do you think that the chief doing wrong? Like about
Well,
policing in their own city.
Well, you know what? I think one of the issues is when let's be realistic. Whenever you deal with crime anywhere, in order for you to be able to combat that crime, you have to have interaction with community as well as the police department. Community policing is really a thing. You have to know the areas in which the people in which you're dealing with. You have to familiarize yourself with who's supposed to be there, who's not. You have to but the people that you're servicing, that you are actually out here interacting with, they need to feel safe and they need to feel comfortable with the police department. Right now, you have a police department that has a low morale. You have a lot of different things that are going on, and right now, one of the big major things that we're dealing with is what's called Operation Safe Streets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not from one primary police department. That is like a conglomerate of police departments, which is, if I'm not mistaken, almost a task force put together by people from different municipalities that are teaming up with
Coming
probation
to
and
the city.
parole. Um, and they are basically dealing with combating crime in per se in that aspect. I don't know all the particulars of how it's working, but we do know that we have an influx of individuals that are basically making complaints, formal complaints, and calling in where they are actually being harmed and they actually are innocent. Now, do you have some that are being arrested through this that are guilty of crimes and things of that nature? Of course, but my main concern is the individuals that are being that have been affected, where they are not, um, if they're not criminals, if they're not doing anything wrong, and if their rights are being violated in the process of the stops or the arrests. We have to safety above all things right now. Um,
I see you got a poster right there,
oh
right?
yeah,
What is that? Explain that.
this is leadership law. So you have there's the FOP, which is Fraternal Order of Police.
Uh-huh.
They have literally run through, because community doesn't only have an issue, because of course I've been very vocal within the last, over the last few years, 2.5, almost 3 years, with regards to the community's take on and perception of Chief Johnson. And the perception of Chief Johnson really is very simple. He's dishonest. He out and out deceives the actual constituents that he is actually supposed to be servicing. Constituents in 2021 um, asked about because we had such an influx in gun violence. And in 2021, constituents actually asked. He promised right here in this at this department that there had been a mobile substation launch to go to from different districts so that they could actually um, address crime, the influx of the gang-related violence, so that we could kind of get a hold of to regain our city back. And this was in 2021. Um, he literally held a press conference here and a meeting, a community meeting, where he went and laid out all this stuff and said it was actually already in motion. And he lied. It was
Wait, he
not.
didn't. He did.
They did not. They did not. He literally lied to the press openly and honestly and willingly.
So within the city council, who govern, who watch over the chief and all that?
Well, city council it's a city council run form of government. Then you have the city manager, and then you have the mayor. The mayor is over top of the police department, and the police chief. Now, city council controls the funding. City manager also controls the funding. Who is at fault in this whole process? Every last one of them.
Wow.
How are they all at fault? Number one, the mayor. You have the city is run and governed by a charter. There's no one that can supersede, and the charter basically possesses the codes that the city is supposed to be governed by. So there is no one that can supersede the charter, not the city council, not the mayor. Basically, the General Assembly will have to literally go through and make any changes that need to come with the city. It has to go in front of the Assembly first, and then, the charter is changed. And then there's a whole process before you can get to a charter change. It has to be put in front of the public to say, if they agree with these changes, and where the public is able to go through and say why.
Do you have to vote for it? Or?
Well, basically your city councilman will take a vote, but the city council is supposed to go through and govern their vote according to what the constituents from their districts are saying that they want and what they don't want. Right now, again, like I said, with regards to all the things that are going on, with regards to budgeting and funding and money, and all the charges and fees that's actually been assessed to our constituents at this time. Right now, people don't care what you got going on. Don't spend their money unnecessarily. So right now, one of the big things, and one of the things that actually became an issue, was Chief Johnson takes the patrol car home when he's off duty. Now, when he's off duty, understand that patrol car comes with an association of costs. It comes with gas, fuel, servicing and maintenance, as well as the toll. You have easy pass tolls. Now, keep in mind, this man works also as an instructor. Now, he picked this job up after. So, one of the things that bother me is because this city council and the mayor, they lie. And I'm just going to say what
Hold
it
on,
is.
didn't you, the chief already had a job?
No. He was hired in 2020.
Uh-huh.
The chief did not start working for Penn State until after he was hired. He was hired in February 2020. If I'm not mistaken, he was hired for Penn to do his instructing job. He started working with Penn State in April of 2021. So with that being said, with him working at Penn State in April of 2021, he had already been hired here. Yeah. So he chose that job. He chose to take that job as a secondary job after he took this job. So
he wasn't commitment.
Correct.
He wasn't committed.
Correct. He was not. Well, he was committed to the city.
He already got the job, but mentally.
Right, mentally, he basically went through and he accepted another job.
Yeah.
Outside of the city so that was going to be right. So you can't focus on being the best chief. Now, keep in mind again, he's the highest paid employee within the city of Dover. Again, last year, if I'm not mistaken, his income was $165,884. So, and with the increase every year, that salary increases. Now, with that being said, on an average, this police chief is making $450 a day.
Wow.
So, if he is supposed to be working here, and that's whether it be in person or online, he has taken away time from his job here and his duties. So if he has a class that he has to teach, and that online class is 3 to 4 hours, depending, that's 3 to 4 hours that's being taken away from taxpayers and taxpayer dollars. Because once he's teaching that class, and I do believe that his class schedule is probably online as well as in person because of the type of teacher that he is. So even if he's online and he's closed off in one of these offices, in his office for that 3 to 4 hours, he's not accessible to his men and women, his officers.
Because of emergency.
Right. He's not accessible to them. Why? Because he has to, he's putting his teaching job above his department. So, that's one of the issues that we have. Because for every day that you do that, that's $450
Gone.
that's gone. Now, with that being said, one of the issues that this department is having with him, they've been very vocal about some of the things that they have, is his not being there. You only get a certain amount of vacation time with any job, and that's with any job, including this one, even him being the chief. His vacation time is limited, and even if he got 2 weeks or if he got a month, you know, he's taking vacation time, and he's taking vacations where he's not using his vacation time, and he's still being paid the same salary that he is supposed to be paid, whether he's on vacation or not.
So why no one in the city council taking note of the situation? Like who govern that? Like who
Well,
check like
the
checks
checks
and
and
balance?
balances.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially everyone has done what they were supposed to do. The problem is city council has decided, your city councilmen have decided to take a blind eye, as well as your mayor. So what they have done over these past few years, and I'm just going to be honest, this has been brought up by constituents. You've had complaints written. Now it's being brought up by the own police department that's there, complaints in writing.
Yeah.
This city government and that city council, as well as the mayor, instead of them addressing the problems that they know that they're facing and dealing with it head on, right now city council is being poor stewards of the constituents' money. Why? Because you have been presented evidence in your face that this man has broken the law, and it is up to you to go through, and so that you don't cost taxpayers money, it's up to you to literally go through and terminate him on the grounds that he needs to be terminated on. But what has happened is the city council has formed a personal friendship with
Oh,
this
it's
chief.
friendship.
So you have certain city council members that have actually formed a friendship with this chief, and because their friendship, and as well as the mayor, he's gotten in good with his with his authoritarians, and they have literally turned a blind eye, forgetting the oath that they actually went through to take to serve constituents that they're serving. His stealing, and I'm going to call it what it is, it's stealing and it's criminal. It warranted him to be fired. But because he's openly, I mean, at this point, you've stolen a lot. And even if criminal charges weren't pressed, he should have been fired. And it still continues with a blind eye to council, as well as the mayor, where they're not being good stewards over the constituents' taxpayer dollars. And so, because this city council has a problem with looking bad, and they don't like to look bad in the media, in the presence of the media, what they continue to do, and that's poor leadership, is they continue to go through and make excuses, or we're just going to say what it is. I just call a lie, and lie about why something was done, instead of them admitting that they messed up. Admit that you messed up, figure out how to fix it, but get this man out of here. He does not belong here.
You spoke on the FOP, right?
Correct.
All right, for people who don't know, like myself, can you explain what a job is?
Well, FOP. FOP is Fraternal Order of Police. So you can always say it's the union for the police department. So FOP is made up of police officers. They're made up of, whether it be police officers, law enforcement. It could be retired law enforcement. I mean, it's made up of actual police. Yeah, it's the police department. It's made up of officers, as well as It could be correctional officers. It could be, it's made up of different people within this organization, but it
They
has
like
a
governing
union.
body over the
Well,
cities,
it's
state,
basically almost like it's their union.
their union. But
Um,
I see 90, I think 93%.
no, 93% of the
Or
officers,
the
the
officer that
police
work at the
officers
police
that work
department.
here. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, so I'm going to say on or about because it's an approximate number.
Yeah,
But you have approximately, I believe, maybe 100 I want to say 115, maybe 120
police officers.
officers that actually are here.
Mm.
And 93% of those officers
That's a lot.
have
That's a
no
lot.
confidence in this chief and they want him gone. And the reason being is because he's not what he's not what the city needs. And right now, the mayor and city council are doing the city an injustice, not only the constituents, but the police officers that actually service this department. We had a very hard time being able to get people to actually come here to work for the department. It's not the highest paid department. You can't take home vehicles. Um, and we have a city that has a very that's
A city
has an
growing.
influx in crime. You have gang violent related activities. You have prostitution. You have a lot of homelessness. You have a lot of issues that the city is facing, and you have to have police officers here to assist governing those issues that we're actually having. Now, with that being said, um, when you have police officers that will literally leave because they're not, people come, when people go to work, they want to work in an atmosphere that's
Comfortable
not right,
environment.
a
Yeah.
comfortable environment, not food, not highly charged. They don't want to work in a police department where they don't even, it's bad enough. And let's be realistic. You have good officers, you have bad officers, but one thing that I will say, that when you have good officers, they go through and they do their best to go through to make a difference, whether it be, and nobody likes police. If you're committing a crime, or
Yeah.
if you just, and let's be realistic, just as black people, and I'm going to say, I can only be frank, as black people, we go through and we have guards, safeguards, and that we put up when it comes to police, and well within reason, because you have things that have happened that you see happen. You don't want those things happening, and you don't want to become a victim, or of police brutality or things
So
of that nature. However, those are, when you have those situations, you have to deal with them. But for the most part, you all police officers are not bad. And for the most part, when you have police officers that come to work to do their job, it's bad enough when they deal with the adversity in the street. But when they come inside of this building and you feel the chaos, and you just don't feel like you're being appreciated by the people that are supposed to appreciate you. Let's think about it. If you worked on a job and you went into that job, and your boss, and you're doing a good job just to show that your boss that I'm worthy of my raise, I'm
yeah.
worthy of recommend advance, or for me to go through and get a promotion. When you're going through and you're working hard, and that boss that you have doesn't care about, he doesn't care about the job in itself,
Yeah.
so he could care less about you being promoted. He doesn't even know you by name. This police officer, Chief Johnson, doesn't even know his officers by name, and he's been the chief here for almost 5 years. And for people that have been here just as long as he has been here, he doesn't even know what his officers' names are, and that's a slap in the face. You come and you risk your life to work as a police officer, and my boss doesn't even know my name, and I've been here longer than he's been here. That's disrespect.
All right, I'm gonna ask you this, bro. What's the process of getting rid of? Because I don't think he's gonna resign.
Okay.
So, what I mean? I don't think the city like him, like according to you. But
Well, you know what? I think this is, and it's not a personal thing.
it's not personal.
And,
It's
and when
just
I say it's not personal, it really isn't personal. And at one point, I actually liked Chief Johnson, but and I'm not gonna say that I dislike him. I just don't like his I don't
Leadership.
like the leadership, and I don't like a person that can't be honest. His dishonesty is very, very, you know, my grandfather always said, if you lie, you'll cheat. If you'll cheat, you'll steal.
Yeah.
Well, this police chief has done all of those things. Um, so with that being said, what would be the difference because he's not going to resign? Okay, and we know that he's not going to resign because he's very arrogant. And why would you resign from something? This is his cash cow. Let's be realistic. $450 a day. You don't even have to report to work. You get to take home a free police car with unlimited gas. I mean, you're driving with on the tax dollars of constituents. They're paying for your insurance, they're paying for your fuel, they're paying for your expense account, and you don't even have to show up for work when you're scheduled. So, this city has been used as a cash cow by this chief, so why would he quit? It's up to his authoritarians that know, the people that are over top of him, which would be the mayor and the city council.
Do the
It's
state
up to them.
do the state have oversight on police department
Well, no, this
chief?
is this the chief is actually, that's all the mayor,
Or it's all mayor,
and
no
the
state?
mayor, and then of course they can go through, city council can go through to elect to let him go. At this point, this local body needs to make a determination that, hey, we made a mistake, um, and however, whatever they need to do to fix it, they need to fix it. But don't hold constituents captive anymore. You made a mistake, own your mistake. I don't care what you have to do to get. I mean, at this point, he has broken many laws, and not only has he broken laws, but our safety is important. Right now, we're losing police officer after police officer because these officers don't want to be here. I've talked to several police officers that have since left, retired, or I went into another line, just a different jurisdiction of policing. But those officers said if he left, they would come back. You're losing police officers left and right, and the mayor as well as city council needs to understand that when your constituents are complaining, but then your entire police department. And what he did basically was very simple. He literally went through and he did a memorandum of understanding, um, where that memorandum of understanding was to say that they would change the year, the actual year, the age of the chief requirement. So they lifted that ban. So when they did that, it basically is saying that there is no age limit or cutoff for the amount of time the chief could actually be the chief. Um, did I think that made sense? No. I think they should have changed. They could have moved the age and specified an age, but I don't think they should have left the threshold open. Right now, I believe that the chief would have to do 10 years in order to get retirement benefits for the city, by holding that position, if I'm not mistaken. But let's be realistic. He's already violated his oath. He's stealing. He's supposed to be set to a higher standard, and he's stealing from taxpayers. Every day that if he took vacation time, and say for instance he had 3 days of vacation, and he only took one day of vacation time, but he got paid for all 3 of those days that he
Yeah.
was out,
Yeah.
that's stealing. That's $450 a day.
All right. A couple weeks ago, I guess the chief of police responded to a letter online. I seen the letter. I'm gonna try to find a letter for you guys and probably put on the screen. That he believed, I'm paraphrasing, that he believes some of these criticism come from political people running for public office, so they're using him as a
Well, guess
Skip,
what?
what's your thought on that?
Well, you know what? I have literally been going through, and if anybody that knows me that knows I've worked in this city as an advocate since I returned back to Delaware. And one of the things that I never had was political goals or aspirations. My voice is bigger than a vote. Will I go through and will I assist people if they want? I'll go through and I'll assist whoever. Um, when it comes with right and wrong, why do I do what I do? Well, it's a lot of people out there that may need help and they don't have the finances to be able to get done what they need done. It's a lot of people that have, things that need to happen and they don't have people to work to help them work towards getting what they need done. And it could be detrimental to everyday life. It could be as simple as, having a roof over your head or, um, their child end up, losing, having a felony when they shouldn't, and being charged as an adult. It's many things that people have and need help with. It could be as much as getting into a drug rehab program or, something of that nature. We never know. We have a lot of things in the community that, we have to advocate for others. The chief is, I'm sorry, but he's a person that will, he never, if you ever go back, I want you people to go back on any interview that the police chief has had to do in the past 4 years. This chief never says it's never anything with substance.
Hmm.
It's always blanket answers.
Yeah.
Whenever you ask the question, oh, I can't comment on that right now at this time because it may impede an investigation. This man has not taken the time to even evaluate to know what is going on. I remember seeing him one day going into the donut shop on Governors, and he was going in to get something to eat. And I literally had went through and came and parked in the parking lot, came through there. I'm like, hey, the dude is getting, he's getting oral sex. And I didn't say that, but, I'm like, you need to go around there. And he was really good. No, you need to go around there. He's not here. He's over there, and you are the chief. Go.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to tell people, when people, you are the chief of police. When you see things going on like that, and a person comes to tell you what's going on because they're in the community that you're servicing, we don't care about your stomach.
I'm gonna talk about you for a little bit. All right, you very vocal in the city. You
I am.
everywhere. I
I
see you on
am.
Facebook, YouTube, TV. You everywhere in the city. Do you ever feel fear like talking about the chief like that?
You know what?
Cause you put yourself out there.
I do. And you know what? I will tell you this. One thing's for sure and two things are for certain. I can only be who I am. So I always say I can go anywhere over this United States and I'm still going to be able to do what I do and I'm going to speak what I speak. Is there ever fear of safety? There's always fear of retaliation because retaliation is real.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had my tires slashed in front of my home. I've had my windows busted. I've had my car broken into. I have had documents and pictures and anonymous. I've had documents placed on my windshield, anonymous pictures put on my windshield, in envelopes, and I've had, hate mail sent from undisclosed, and that's letting me know, where I live.
Yeah.
And, when I go through and I always make it a promise to say, you know what, in this world we have organizations. I always say, I'm not sugar and spice and everything nice. I'm sage and hood and wish that you would. I'm not going to play a game with you. In my space, did it weird me out at first? It really did. Um, do I have a registered firearm? I do. Do I know that if I ever have to use it in the state of Delaware, I will be arrested? I do. But I will go through and do what I have to do to protect myself and maintain safety above all else. Do I go through carrying my weapon? No, I don't, because that weapon is only for me to be at home for my safety. With that being said, does it stop me from doing what I need to do? No. Reason being is because if you don't speak up, everybody always said they used to have this saying, you can't fight City Hall. You really can. Your voice does matter. And the only way that I feel like some of the things that protect me is because I am so vocal.
Yeah, you're very vocal.
And because I am so vocal, um, when things, I just feel like sometimes when you can't get done what you need to get done, and we try to do things and resolve things at the lowest level where we can get things addressed. But when we can't, the first thing that you need to do is some of the things that you have to do as being an advocate is you have to go through it. And some things you have to make it public if you have to take it to another level. Understand that when you see me in town hall meetings or even when you see me if you see me on the news or you see it right up in the paper, these things aren't just something that just come up. I will have reached out and made the attempt to communicate with those higher officials, whether it be city council, anybody within this local body where the issue stems from, whether it be code enforcement, whether it be crime. I will have reached out to the city officials in its appropriate forum, also allowing the rest of the city officials to know what's going on and what we're addressing. If they don't come back or they're not trying to work with constituents or with to get the matters resolved, and they think it's just going to go away, I'm not that individual. If I go through and I have an issue with something, or if I take on something for an individual, then understand that I'm going to take that on and I'm going to follow through with it. Whether that means it takes a week, whether that means it takes a month. In this particular case with this particular subject matter, it has been ongoing for about 2.5 years. But these things are just coming up into the public where it's actually being illuminated now because the federal order of, fraternal FOP has decided,
You're not
they're
backing.
they're not backing them because his leadership is horrible. This But when your own people that work for you are saying the same thing that constituents have been saying for over 2.5 years, and I think one of the issues with the FOP is very simple. You have to watch understand right now the FOP is going through some things as well. Why? Because you don't think other police departments, other municipalities are looking at them to say, oh, why are you doing this? This is something that is for them. They don't like having to do this because it doesn't look good for them either. But you can't continue to work in this fashion. And this man he's very arrogant. He's not going anywhere. He's letting us know this city is a cash cow for this police department, for this police chief. And it's unfortunate. Hi, how are you? And it's unfortunate that constituents, their taxpayer dollars are going out for this police chief where he does not. And when I say where he does not deserve to be a chief over.
I seen this on Facebook. You know what I mean? I want to know your thought on this, right? On Facebook, the FOP Facebook page put up a letter or something, a notice for the public saying the the mayor and the chief of police trying to conspire against certain member of the city council. What your thought on that?
Well, you know what? I've seen a lot of literature that the FOP has put out, and they're very well founded with their issues that they are voicing from the police department. And again, a lot of those issues that they're voicing, constituents have been voicing those same exact issues since for over 2 years, 2.5 years. With that being said, it was very disheartening for me to see that the mayor, as well as the chief, and keep in mind, these two individuals, the mayor is the mayor of the city, and he's over top of the police department. And for our mayor and this police chief to actually come and basically it's almost like, like they were trying to put, like it's some mafia stuff, like they're trying to put a hit out on two councilmen for being vocal and voicing their opinion. It was very alarming and disturbing. And the reason being is because, remember, I told you my experience with being an activist here in this city. Um, my car was broken into, and tires flattened after leaving a meeting with the mayor
Wow.
some years ago. I mean, literally exiting that meeting, and I went to go get something to eat, um, and my car was literally broken into. So then, of course, my tires flattened and my windows busted, and then, of course, I get, the hate mail that's coming to my home sign, saying that we're watching you, Mr. X. You're not, and you're not. That lets you under it. It's real, um, and some of the people that are not supposed to be um, acting in this fashion, those are the people that are, and those are the people that you have to actually look out for. People of power that feel like that their image, or they're more concerned about form and fashion as opposed to doing their job. That's really a big thing. Um, so it's disturbing, but it's not.
Why
It's not. I can't. You know what? I can say this. It's disturbing, but I'm not
you're not
surprised
surprised?
because of my own dealings. But it just goes through to add further validity to why it's important to go through and make these things public and be vocal, because retaliation is really a thing. And when you have these type of officials need to be gone. There needs to be a recall vote with the mayor, um, because it's abuse of power. The chief needs to be fired. They both need to lose their positions for
I
this.
don't think the citizen know this kind of information.
Right, but
But
that's where it comes in, where media, and it's one of the things that I've learned is that our local media censors a lot of things that the public hears, because they actually have people that are going through that they have owe favors to, and they censor, you know, some of the information or the news that.
Thank you for recognizing me, Council President Neal. Based on the new allegation, the third allegation, and the city solicitor's advice, I move that the third allegation regarding the mayor and the chief of police allegedly knowing or seeking to engage FOP leadership in unethical behavior for their political gain be addressed, reviewed, and that the city solicitor have the authority to hire a third party who is non-associated with the city of Dover to help him review or assess the merit, validity of these allegations, of the third allegation.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's seconded. Councilman Rocha, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
We're now adjourned.
It was very alarming and disturbing to know that the mayor and the chief would actually go to their police officers to break the law when they are there to enforce the law. And, thank God that um, the officers that they actually approached were officers of integrity, so that, and letting them know that they're not, it's not their job to go through and harass people for being able to express their First Amendment right. Um, but for them to literally go through and try to stop, that tells you that they're not on the same page with constituents, and these are the things that we're trying to stop. We want people should be able to voice their opinion, or say how they feel or how things are affecting them. And it doesn't matter that we step on people's toes sometimes. As an advocate for this city, I'm not always going to be um, on the same page as, you know, local government. I may be totally against something that, you know, um, a city council member that I normally may be in agreement with may want. I'm not going to always be on the same page with, police officers or, even the FOP. You're going to see a lot of times where, two sides are, may differ in opinion, but just because we have a difference in opinion, it's about going through to work. Where is it as far as legalities? Has that person broken any laws? If that person's not breaking any laws, then that person has the right to say what it is that they wish to say, because it's a freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Um, so for the mayor and the chief to violate that oath in itself and attempt to bring police officers um, to stoop to that level, it was really disgusting for me to actually hear that. That was even alleged that this happened. And I use the verbiage alleged. Do I very well believe that it happened? I do. Um, but I have to say alleged for legality purposes. But, with that being said, I think that the chief needs to go. And, the mayor is at his end. It's time for him. He needs a recall on the vote. And the same people that put him in the office need to take him out, because he checked out a long time ago. Um, you know, he doesn't want to be the mayor anymore, and it's visible because he's doing nothing. This is not an issue for someone else to come in, a year and a half from now and make this city go through another year and a half of this. Please do your job. Let your tenure here, speak for something with some issues. We're never going to always agree on everything, but just admit that the mayor and city council needs to admit that they made a mistake by allowing this man to come here. He is not good for this city. He needs to go. Is that going to change all of the issues that we have? No, it won't, because we still have a lot of issues with regards to, right now we have a lot of people that are, being jumped out on with the Safe Streets, but that's not this actual department. That is an actual collection of um,
Different department.
different departments that are actually going through, and they've created a task force. Do we need to go through and get those things under control? Yes, we do. But we can't do anything without, we need to stop. We got to start at the top and we got to work our way to the bottom. Um, and the first thing is, this chief, he has to go.
He has to go.
The mayor, it's time for him to go. If he went through, if what they allege is true, the mayor needs to go, because he's tainted. You cannot go through. He's tainted. They both need to go.
All right. Hey guys, if you watch this video all the way through this, any last apart from he has to go, anything else you want to say?
Outside of he has to go,
Yeah.
he has to go.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this video all the way through this point. Stay tuned for more. All right.